Hello, everyone. My name's Karen Laurie. I'm here with Jonathan Mellers, and we're just going to start this Zoom for the ABE group. And here comes somebody, Karen, and my name's Karen, and she's entered in. Because today I wanted to talk about how to bring people together in this world that is rather divisive.
Hi, Karen, Laurie.
Hi,
Morning.
Karen.
Hey, Karen. From one Karen to another. Hi.
Hi. I was just saying what I wanted. Hi.
This is Mark.
Yes, I remember Mark.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just wanted to, what I want to talk about, we're just going to start and whoever shows up or not, whatever, and we can have it on recording. But what I want to talk about is when, like how to bring people together versus, and maybe this is just in the world I'm in, but like some people have very strong opinions about things and they get mad at you if you have a different opinion.
Right.
Right. So I wanted to just talk about how I deal with it because it's really fun. And the first thing that I do is I make sure, I mean, I'm always in alignment, but I make sure I'm bringing the fun. Like I don't wait to see if somebody's going to be nice or not. I'm just going to bring the fun and I put the fun, whether it's in my writing or in my talking, into whatever I'm doing. So I just bring the fun.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, because it's I think that's the real when people say you aren't being responsible. Yeah, I'm responsible. I bring my fun. Um,
Yes, yes. I
and
love it.
and then part of the thing that I've been doing, let's say somebody has an opinion that is different than mine, before I say anything about my part, I want to understand them better. So I ask them questions about what they believe. I ask them I might first ask them a question like, what was your favorite thing today? Because that puts them in a different consciousness. What do you appreciate the most? I might ask those questions first, just to get somebody into more open consciousness. But then I'll say, what is it that you like about this thing that you're supporting that I don't believe in, for example? And I get an understanding of where they're going. And then I'm gentle and I accept them and I love them and I appreciate them. And almost, I'd say 60% of the people that I do this with turn around and become very open to what I'm talking about. And I think it's so interesting because I'm not trying to push against someone who has a different idea than me. I want to invite them in and help them help me understand them better. And that allows for them to feel safe, which then allows them to be able to connect, which then allows them to be open, and it transforms things. So people who have been really, really angry about different things, because I've been, the reason I bring this up is because one of my dear friends that I've known for 33 years is running for the US president. And so I'm like, I believe in him. I support him, right? And so people say, "Oh, his name is Robert Kennedy Jr."
I
So,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
We've been watching a lot of that here.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. We
yeah,
appreciate them.
yeah, I appreciate him too.
I-
I mean, I've known him 33 years. He's always been so kind. He's always been nice. He's always had integrity. He's always been great for the environment. He's always been great for children. I mean, we did so many things. Like he invited me and I invited my friends and we all took kids from Bedford Stuyvesant to go on a hike and then he took me to the Democratic National Convention and I got to sit next to Rosa Parks and have dinner with her and like he's just been really great and always um a very kind, honest, super honest, generous person. But a lot of people have an idea of him. And so that's kind of where I'm coming from is because I've been talking to people about him and then people will come in and say, "Oh, he's terrible this and he's terrible that and he's terrible that." And I just listen and I don't get upset. I bring the fun because I'm responsible. I bring the fun and I'm just gentle with everybody and I'll say, "Oh, what makes you think that? Sounds like you're pretty upset, and I'm not trying to change them at all. I'm not trying to get them to vote for him. Excuse me, let me have some water.
Oh, we're going to go on one here, Karen, Laurie.
What'd you say?
We're going to go on here, one Karen, Laurie. So, so this is the bloke who had a relative who got shot in the back of the head in Texas. Is he related to the Kennedy who got shot?
Yeah,
in Texas?
Yes.
both Kennedys. He was related. His dad was Robert F. Kennedy, and his uncle was John F. Kennedy.
So I'm talking as a Brit who knows a bit about US politics. So why are you putting this person forward who has been, his previous relatives have been assassinated?
He wants to go forward, and he just feels like it's something, like he's really called to do it. He feels like the Democratic Party has betrayed their values, and so he wants to run. And he also has somebody I don't know through Bobby, but I knew also like 28 years ago. His name is Gavin DeBecker, and he's an amazing security guy. And he wrote a book called The Gift of Fear. And so I know Gavin too. We're both godparents of a child that was my friend Susan Deal and his friend Sean Cassidy's. Well, Sean's my friend too. Sean Cassidy's daughter, and she's amazing. But so he's the god dad and I'm the god mom. So I know him from that, and also he helped me with a guy that was a stalker. But the whole reason I'm bringing this up because people have such strong attitudes about him or about some policy that he's talking about or about who they want to vote for, etc. And what I've found is that when you're in alignment and you're really calm, what a lot of people do is they'll call names and they'll say, name calling things. And I'll say, oh, did you know that, and I'm saying it in a kind way. I'm not saying it in a condescending way, but like, did you know that when you name call, it's called ad hominem, and it's not it's an invalid argument. It's a sign of a false logic. And if you could actually say things that are not name calling, you might feel better, and it's probably better for your health too. And I can probably hear you better too. And so I'm like not trying to stop them, and I say I respect your choice. If you want to call names, go ahead. I might not listen though, So I have clear boundaries and I say what I want, but I'm not trying to control them. And it's a really intricate balance, and it's something that I'm finding to be really fun because I'm given intense contrast, and I like it, and I'm good at it, and so it's a way, because it doesn't matter whether it's your friend running for president or if it's your mother or your father or your sibling or your neighbor or your boss or your coworker or your friend or whatever. If somebody is activated, angry about something, and they're coming at you because they think you believe something differently, it doesn't matter where it is. It's all about when you really are in alignment, you know how to be compassionate with them, even when they're not compassionate with you. You know how to love them, even when they don't love you. You know how to listen to them, even when they can't listen to you. And I find it so fun. And it's really making my alignment I've never been like a political person. I mean, I did a little bit of political things, but not like, I don't even listen to the news. I don't watch politics. I don't pay attention. I just know that this man has had integrity the whole time I've known him, right? So that's what I know. So I'm naive, right? And I'm ignorant of what a lot of people do know. And I don't think it's a bad thing for me. I just I don't let somebody diminish me because I don't have the same belief. I just keep my alignment, and it becomes so fun. I feel like I'm learning how to, in boxing, it's called the sweet science. And there's so much about boxing where it's dodging this and dodging that. And you're never, and when you put your thing in it, when you put your punch in, you're doing it in the moment that is the right moment. And it's just really fun. It is a great tool to me to practice being in alignment at more and more intensity. When there's more people who are really hating someone or something that I really love, or really loving something that I really don't want, I love it but don't want it. I just find it to be able to be calm about it, to be able to bring my peace, to be able to bring my fun, to bring able to bring my love when people are, you know, it's so fun, and I don't care that they do it. I just love them. And it's become an adventure. So I don't know really. Yeah, I believe in Bobby. I love him. But I think I'm doing this. Part of the reason I'm inspired to do this so much is because I'm getting stronger in my alignment. It doesn't matter what anybody says. I'm getting stronger in my alignment. So it doesn't matter to me. I want him to win, but whether he wins or not, I'm fine. I want somebody to vote for him, whether they do or not. I don't care. I love him. You know, I'm just like, don't care about the result. I'm enjoying the process of bringing the fun, bringing the love, bringing the clarity, bringing the understanding, bringing the listening, bringing the compassion. Does that, yeah.
Oh, that's a beautiful summation. I mean, I so love what you said, and we've certainly, Mark and I previously were not very political, but then we kind of got a little more political and a little more political and a little more political.
We Karen got a little. Not we, Mark. We Karen got more.
But with that, and so we don't watch the news, but we do listen to a few things. But and I just kind of developed these strong sentiments, preferences. And then so I'm like, wait a minute. So I've got my Abraham knowledge here of how I want to be and how I want to respond to the world, how I don't want to have knee-jerk reactions, and I don't want to be mad at people or get people mad at me. I've got that. And then I've also kind of got this burgeoning awareness that I have certain ideas that how things could be better in our country and certain preferences. So yeah, it's just, to me, it is such a relevant topic. And then of course it applies to anything, any differences that we encounter with anybody at any time. But yes, we can really cut our eye teeth on this political thing, if we can learn. And the first thing, like you say, is you bring your fun and stay calm. And I always remind myself, there's nothing serious going on here. Like Abraham says, it seems so serious sometimes, when you think it should be this way, but other people say it should be that way. And then just to not get caught up in that, but yeah, to let them express themselves, for us to express ourselves, and just understand each other a little bit better, because that's what most people feel is really lacking right now. It's just that we don't even listen to each other. We will not hear each other out. And so what you say is so relevant and so valuable.
What I've done is I play tennis basically 7 days a week.
Nice.
And it's singles tennis. It's not double. So it's not like I play with a bunch of people and it's all whatever. I'm playing with one guy at a time. And I have incredible people. I have attracted, it just happens, go figure. It happens that I attract some amazing people, smart people, fun people, people that have this passion for tennis, and we enjoy each other as friends, and we play tennis and we compete and all that. But I make it, this is what I've done. And I've said that because I have every side covered. I have every side that you can think of in the political spectrum covered. From a guy that I play with every Saturday, he's got a husband, he's been married for 24 years, and he's black, and he's an actor, and he's obviously on one spectrum that's always complaining about whatever DeSantis is, whatever, all this stuff. and I have the other parts covered, and the whatever. I have and they're very strong smart people.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing is, and I really just like, I don't want to get into it. I don't watch this stuff. I just got no interest in it. And I tell them, I just don't have conversations about politics. I just don't do it because, people will ask you, or, you know, I have my opinion, but if they ask me a direct question about what do you think about this thing or this person or this whatever, and how's this? And it just gets in the way of having fun and playing tennis and enjoying their friendship.
Yeah.
And you're right. People have that thing. It seems, and to me, it's a shame. And I don't like to think about shames, but it's that people can be that way. It seems like love is first, friendship is first, fun is first, and then
Right.
and that for me, and if I have to just not, they all know, one of the first things I establish with the person that I meet firstly is I just don't talk about political things. I just don't do it. I don't watch it. I don't study it. I don't play with it. I don't get emotional about none of that stuff. And it works really well for me, but it'd be kind of nice. I've dabbled with a couple of them, just kind of like a little something. But I realized that I can't get very deep. I can't really, because if you go a little bit, just a short distance into that subject, there's a hair stand up on,
Oh,
now.
that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's different. So I just don't do it. And I love this subject because I would love to have nice conversations with people that I care
I'm
about.
going to hit a nail on the head there, Mark. I know you're Republican. I'm not going to say any more.
Okay.
So what if you get someone come to you who is highly democratic in their opinions? What do you say to them?
Are you asking Mark what he would say to them if when they do give an
Yes.
extreme opinion?
I know you
Say that I don't talk politics. I just was go play tennis.
are Republican. I'm a Brit, so I don't know where I could go from this.
Well, I love what you said, Mark, because that's how I've been
Mhm.
my whole life. I've never talked about politics because I didn't understand it, and I didn't understand, if you want to understand things, you got to know from the beginning, right? That's how I thought. And so I was just like, oh, so I've never really watched the news. One time I got a job. I went on an audition on Tuesday. I got the job. I was leaving on Friday to go to South Africa for 4 months and an acting job. And when I was, before I left, my boyfriend at the time said, oh, look, here's some information about South Africa in the news, right? So I looked at the paper, and then I thought, oh, wow, that's interesting. And I was a little nervous to go. It was right before apartheid had ended. So we were doing this movie in what is called apartheid South Africa, which I didn't really even know was existing. So I'm on the plane, and then I get there and I'm checking into the hotel, and there's a newspaper there. And that newspaper said something totally different. And then there was another newspaper there that was more from the Zulu group, and that newspaper said something totally different. So I was like, okay, this is all just various, perspectives. It doesn't really have to do with anything. I'm going to have my own experience. And so I have always been this, I'm not going to talk about politics. The only reason I'm talking about politics now is because I love,
And
sorry, I'm getting weird. I'm getting it's so many, like a ton of emails came in that all said something funny. Anyway, so what I'm doing now isn't because of politics. It's because I know the man. It's because I trust him, because I've known him. We've gone on many, many hikes, and we both, without talking to each other about it, have picked up litter without it being like neither one of us said, I pick up litter on my hike. Both of us do it, right? And and I've seen him with kids, and I've seen him with me. Like, he was really honest with me at different times. Whenever we knew, he helped me in lots of times. And so it's not as much political as it is I want people to know who this man really is. But because of that, I'm involved in political conversations. And what's so fun is that I'm learning how to listen to people, but also to talk about political situations from what I understand are Bobby's positions. And it's really interesting because it's my way of playing tennis in my alignment.
Mm,
It's
mm.
my way of having adversaries that I don't call them adversaries, but having the person on the opposite end of the court, they want to beat me and I'm relaxed. And so it doesn't matter what they say. And then I'm getting all these people who are Trump supporters saying, God, you're so loving, you're so kind. And then I'm getting really, really extreme left people who are saying, thank you so much. I didn't know. That really helps me. So it's been really fascinating to step into this realm and to bring my alignment into it, and not to do it out of I need something from anybody. I don't need anybody to do anything. I respect everybody's choices. I'm willing to listen. I ask questions. I compliment. I try to understand where they're coming from before I even say my thing. I mean, I might have posted a general thing, but before I even say my thing, there was a guy who said something about Bobby, and I asked him, and he was a doctor, and he was saying something about Bobby's health. And I said, how do you know that? Have you seen his lab reports? Because he's saying something in the public forum about somebody he doesn't know Bobby. And so then, because I said that, like probably 12,000 people responded. And they're all like talking to that doctor, but they're saying, yeah, you shouldn't make a long distance diagnoses when you aren't a personal doctor, and then it should be personal and private. Oh, big hawk just flew by. But so it's just fascinating, like I'm gonna still ask it in a polite way. Somebody, Bobby asked or Joe Rogan asked for Bobby and Peter Hotez, who's a doctor, to have a debate. And somebody said, Peter Hotez is a great doctor and he's and all this stuff. And people come to his house and they put his life at risk. And I said, well, you're right. I don't think they should put anybody's life at risk. That's really valuable. And thank you for saying that you really love him. I love that you love him. And I'm not trying to push against them. And then Peter Hotez started following me. I'm not trying to push against those people. I'm trying to understand them first. And then what happens is they can breathe. They can breathe, and then they can think more clearly. When somebody's reactive, they can't think clearly. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be about politics. It could be about, like, for example, I believe that sugar is part of the cause of dementia. So I want my mom not to eat sugar and not to eat carbs, which are sugar, and not to eat fruit that is too sugary. And so I suggested to my brother that we ask for that, that we don't do that. And he was like, there's nothing wrong with sugar. And I was like, oh, and I realized, oh, he's got a little addiction. Okay, I love him. I'm not going to fight him on this. I'm not going to fight anybody on this. When I'm with my mom, when we go out for dinner or whatever, she doesn't even want sugar because she eats really healthy with me. So the desire goes away. Whereas if she's eating unhealthy, it makes you want sugar. And so, I just do it when I'm there. And I love my brother, and I'm not going to let my understanding of physiology and my understanding of the law of attraction to be disturbed by his vehemence that sugar is good for people. And okay, he's never been studying food and nutrition and pre-med and all that stuff for decades like I have, but that's okay. I still appreciate him, and I love that I can see that it's not even him talking, it's that addiction of his that is talking. And so I don't have I just have compassion. I know what addiction's like. I don't want my brother to be addicted, but I also am not going to stop him from being addicted unless he wants that, So it's just a sugar and grains, and processed food. which I don't do any of that. I haven't had sugar in 15 years or grains in 13 and dairy in 11, except for butter. I like butter and ghee. But so it doesn't matter what it's about. It could be about any issue, but the issue, the fun that I'm finding is to bring my fun wherever I'm going, to bring my peace, to bring my love, and then to listen, and then to understand as best I could. You know, somebody said to me, I'm voting for Trump. And I said, oh, that's great. I said, what is it you like about President Trump? What is it that he's done when he was like they were talking to me about, they live in Chicago, and it's a very, where they live, it's so dangerous, and there's 30 mass shootings a year, and it's really a problematic area. And I said to him, that's great, you want to vote for Trump. What is it that he did when he was in presidency that you saw benefited your city? And he said, actually, he did the opposite. We had less employment of minorities in Chicago when he was presidency. And I said, so what, if this is a big issue for you, what do you think that Trump could do? And then he's like, you're right. I'm not going to vote for Trump. I was like, oh. And it was so fascinating because it's like a blanket idea, but if you go a little deeper, then you find something else out. And I've had a lot of people, one girl, she was like, I know you're talking about Bobby Kennedy, but Dr. Shiva says this and this and this and this and this. And I was like, well, Dr. Shiva is not telling the truth. This is the truth. This is the truth. Because I've known him, so I know how he's been over the decades, right? And I just keep like this. And then I said, what do you like about Dr. Shiva? And she said, well, he's got really great health advice. I said, does he give health advice on being calm? Because he seems like he gets a little angry. And she goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, when you get angry, you mess up your health because you start getting adrenaline going. And she started listening to me, and then she started watching some of Bobby's videos, and then now she's supporting him massively. Like has become a huge Bobby supporter. But I'm not trying to make her be a Bobby supporter. I
Right.
let it go. I let it go. I don't care. I'm not trying to make my brother be eat better or get my mom. I'm not even fight. If my mom wants dessert, I'm going to give it to her. I'm not going to not give it to her, but I just encourage her to eat a lot of healthy food before, and then she's too full. So she can't eat the dessert. And it's my ploy. But I encourage her. It's not like I'm saying you have to eat this good food. I'm just giving her healthy food that fuels her body, fuels her brain. And then she just doesn't even think of dessert. It doesn't occur to her. But if she said to me, I really want dessert, I'd let her, because I want her to feel free.
Yes.
But I also want her to have good health and good cognition. And sugar's been linked to cancer and to dementia and to blah, 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 all that stuff, So neurological disease, IBS.
Yeah. That is, yeah. So it's finding that balance. Go ahead, Jonathan.
As Abraham would always say, it's not what you are eating, not what you are drinking, not what you are putting into your body. It's how you feel at that time.
Yep. I agree with that. I personally, for me, have been studying nutrition and learning the dangers of sugar since I was in college. So it's been a couple decades, more and more. And so for me, it is more fun for me to eat healthy and to feel good than it is for me to eat something that makes me tired afterwards, or that makes my sleep uncomfortable, or that gives me breakouts. Like, I don't have to wear makeup. I mean, I'm wearing lipstick and mascara, but I don't have to wear makeup anymore because my skin is so much better. Not just from eating sugar, but from also doing detoxes of things like aluminum and mercury and stuff like that in my body. that we all probably have. But like, I don't hate anything. Like, I don't hate mercury. I don't hate aluminum. I'm not going to hate sugar. I love sugar. I just feel so good not eating it. And then when everybody is eating it, like at my family or at a party or something, and everybody's having sugar, I don't feel like I'm losing out. For me, I feel like, oh my God, I'm so thankful that I'm not addicted anymore. I love that freedom. But
Mhm.
that's for me, if you like sugar, eat sugar. It's okay. It's just that there's so much benefit to finding a way that to eat well and feel good at the same time. Because I agree, if you feel really good, you can eat anything. And when I felt really good and ate sugar, I didn't feel as good afterwards. So I noticed that. That's part of what got me to let go of sugar and grains, basically, sugar and grains, and then dairy, because dairy is sugar. Um, so, yeah, so it doesn't matter what it is. It's learning how to have such stellar, consistent alignment that even when somebody thinks that you're crazy because you don't eat sugar, or you're crazy because you're voting for a guy that wants vaccines to be safe, although they don't call it that. If you're if they're saying all this stuff, but to just be like, I just recognize how beautiful they are, how cute they are, how funny they are, how sweet they are. They really care. They're really important. It's just an interesting way of doing it that's so different than I've ever done it before. I've always backed off of any kind of serious conversation. And now I stay light about it. And I know it's not serious, but I still speak what feels right to me.
Yeah, so you're showing us that that can be done, that those two things can go together. Whereas, like, Mark has chosen to, isolate from those kinds of conversations. And as I become a little more interested in politics, like you, I I enjoy engaging. I want to refine my ideas about the subject, and I want to understand other people for the most part. I guess I do. Sometimes I do more than others, but anyway, but yeah, I like being able to have a bit of a political part of myself that is sort of activated, and also, and find it not mutually exclusive with being, in a peaceful place. And
Mhm.
that's what you're sharing, and that's what I think I find so valuable, because so often we feel like, those things just can't go hand in hand. It's just going to be people locking horns, and but sometimes you just really miss out on some of the great dynamics of conversation and back and forth, if you can learn to do it in a way and stay peaceful, and if you can if you can do it in a way that doesn't antagonize somebody, and yet they feel they feel heard. I mean, I think so many folks really, if they can just feel heard, like
Mhm.
what you're saying, I want to understand where you're coming from. Now, what is it you like about so and so and all that? I mean, I think that is, if somebody is hurt, I think you, like you said, I think they take a deep breath and they're like, oh, okay, so we're not, just locking horns. And then you open the doors for a discussion, which I think is, and I feel like Bobby Kennedy brings this forth. I love what he says about how he grew up, that all of the kids in his big family were always encouraged to talk about how they felt about things, and they didn't necessarily agree with each other at all. But it was okay. It was okay not to agree with each other. It was okay to not agree with the parents. And when I heard him say that, I thought, now that's a healthy household. I want that kind of a scenario. I just loved it, where so often the parents, okay, they have their ideas, and if the kids express something contrary, is like, oh, and I mean, I've heard this, I heard it just last week. A mom say, oh, no, 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 that's not that way, to little kids,
Mhm.
about something with regard to reality. But I just love it. When we just hear each other out, but it takes alignment first. You know,
Mhm.
if you go into it sort of partially aligned and partially potentially upset, then things are probably going to deteriorate. But I want what you're talking about. I want to be able to have those dialogues with people because there are so many people that I know I don't see it the same way they do, but I appreciate them so much. And a real important time for me was going back to my college last October. And I knew that most of those people at my college, I'm not close with any of them, but it was a milestone alumni gathering. And I thought, by golly, I've never gone. I'm going. I'm going to go back there. But then I thought, wait a minute, I'm not going to see things eye to eye with most of those people. And so I kind of talked myself through it. And I said, I'm not going to let that stop me from going back and having those memories and talking to those people about memories of, our class. And so Mark, there were some humorous moments and I had to, but I took a lighthearted approach. Mark was there with
Yeah.
me and he'd never seen my college. And I came away from there with a good feeling, a much better feeling about the folks. And I got to know them in a way that I hadn't really known this particular group of 30 some people when I was at college. And I thought, I'm going to let this be I'm going to allow it to be a good experience. Now I could go back there and be looking for what's wrong. I did a little of that. I will have to say that I saw, okay, I see where we're not the same. But I'm not going to let that be the overriding experience. It's going to be the connection that I feel. And then as I heard some of the people out, I was just really taken by how sincere they are. And we might not agree on how to go about certain things, but we agree on the end objectives, peace and brotherhood and helping people and just making, doing our contribution to make it a better place. And so that for me was an eye opener and it really helped me. But then again, I don't know. I mean, I am felt a little lost. So that's why with continuing to do that with people in general that I meet, here and there. And so that's why what you're sharing is so relevant because I want to bring that to other people, what do we have in common? And what do you like why do you like your person so much?
I wouldn't say why.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
the why
So
is
why?
associated with why did you break the cookie jar? Why did you put paint on the walls? Why did you get your shirt all dirty? Right? So there's I
Yes.
would say what makes you like that person or what about that person do you like or something like that. So you're not
Yeah.
triggering some childhood
Yes, I see what
uh,
you're saying. Yes, that could, right,
yeah.
that could backfire. But yes, finding that connection and encourage, like Mark was saying one time, we saw a TV show we don't watch much, but we watch comedies almost exclusively. We love our sitcoms. Oh, we love those so much. 2.5 Men and all those. I won't get into all that. And Young Sheldon and all of those we adore. But
I'm
we don't.
so glad you like them. One of the things that I'll just talk about him for a second, the man
Mhm.
who creates those shows. Sorry,
Mhm.
my file. Um, my nail is breaking. He when he does his shows, he has like 10 or 12 different guys and girls that are sitting around the table, and somebody will say an idea, and he'll say, "I don't think that works for this, but flesh it out." Or so it might not be the right idea. Yeah, I see you, Jonathan. And it's just really fun when they write, they are basically, like if they're in the other room, this is what I hear. And it's really hilarious because they are cracking themselves up. And so I love that you love those. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, Oh my gosh, we adore. And yeah, we just absolutely adore what he is creating.
Interruption. Mark,
Yeah.
water is better than Gatorade.
Better than what?
I'm complete.
What's better than Gatorade? What's better than
Water. Water is better than Gatorade.
Yeah, and wheatgrass is better than Gatorade
two?
also.
Okay.
Thank you, Jonathan. Yeah, so really it's bringing alignment. It's getting into alignment before you do anything. It's making sure that you getting your needs met first. So I make sure, like most of the time before I do anything, I've worked out, I've meditated, I've written, I've slept well. I eat one meal a day, so I probably haven't eaten one meal yet, but I do a lot. I mean, I did eat one meal already, but I eat it midday usually. Anyway, but so I'm just practicing. I make sure that I get my needs met so that I have enough sunlight, I have enough exercise, I have enough good food, I have enough sleep, I have enough love, I have enough fun, enough connection with my spirit before I do anything. And so it makes it really fun. So I bring the fun, I bring the listening, I bring the playfulness, I bring the clarity, I bring the compassion and the understanding, and then they can do whatever they want. And I already have those things, so they can't hurt me. So it can be whatever it is. And I do attract, most of the people I attract are in the political world, people who are looking to be switched over to something better. And they go. So that's why I have such a high percentage of people. And then there's some people that just don't believe in it, and that's okay too. You know, I just don't mind anybody being who they want to be.
Yes.
And I love, and one of the other things I like, just in terms of supporting Bobby, is that he has some alignment. He brings peace where he goes. He meditates. He spends time in nature so he gets more clear. It's like a whole slew of things that he does so that when he's talking most of the time, he is in alignment. And it's really beautiful to watch somebody run for president who's not in alignment. And so that's something that I will bring up that is so important. And it's interesting because, like, I have Republican friends, I have really Democratic friends, I have neutral friends, I have libertarian friends, I have independent friends, and I just value all of them. They all get their time to be who they want to be. You know, they all get their time to express what they want, and then to do what they want, and to make a move if they want to make a move, if they want to change from one person to another or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I like to express myself, but I don't push it on them.
Yes. Yeah. And there's a huge difference there. And people know, they know if somebody's just expressing and sharing out of enjoying the process, or if they're trying to, get that person in my corner, and on the bandwagon. And yeah, and that's what I think people just react to. They don't listen then if they feel like, you've got an agenda.
Right.
My friends know that I am not going to push against anything they say. Or they know.
Right.
See, that's the clarity that I give to people when all my friends are tennis friends, my base, almost all of them, or gym buddies, whatever, one or the other. But they're comfortable around me because I feel a lot of love and connection with all of my friends, because I really appreciate them. I pat myself on the back all the time about the people that are in my life, because there's just, I make new people every now and then, and I say, okay, this is going to be really a fun journey. This is really fun.
Yeah.
And so they know that if they want to say whatever they want to say, that's fine. They just know that I'm not going to be engaged in a conversation down. I'm not going to go down this long conversation about anything that's pushing against anything. I'm not going to. Yeah, they know that I'm gonna that I love them, I respect them, and I appreciate them, and all of that. And if you give people love and appreciation, And mentally, they'll feel it. And then the words that come out of my mouth just express that because it's there. That solves a lot of, or just doesn't allow any issues to come up. It just doesn't. And-
Yeah, yeah. And I know I'll probably get better at this because I'm meeting a lot of people just because I'm speaking up. So
Yeah.
people I haven't met before are coming at me, and some of them are great, and some of them are hesitant, and then some of them are transforming, and then some of them are, reactive. And I find it at this moment in my alignment, to me, I normally attract only really great people in my life, but because I'm going out into a new realm, I'm
Mhm.
attracting a whole different thing. I'm meeting so many people every day, and so it's been really. It just feels like I'm learning a new level of alignment through this. It feels like I'm getting a new level of being aware and awake without pushing anything, with loving everyone, with being calm, relaxed, listening, enjoying, and not making it a bad thing if they believe something different than me. They're entitled. Everybody gets their own reality. Everybody gets to choose what they want. And I'm not the arbiter of anybody else's reality. I'm just saying what works for me.
That's
Yeah.
going to get a lot of people going here. That's going to get a lot of people listening.
Yeah, yeah.
Really, that is going
Right.
to get a lot of people listening.
And that's what I've
without,
yeah.
without any shields up and stuff. Or
Yeah, I don't have any shields. I'm just
Yeah.
open. I
Yeah.
look to see what they're actually saying and what the good is in them and seeing what they're wanting. And I've made a couple posts that people really do resonate with, things like where I've said, whatever you believe, if it's different than me, that's okay. I love you more than I care about your opinion or my opinion. Like I've said stuff like that. And so people do seem to get it. But I don't, I'm not like, I don't make somebody think I'm great, if that makes sense. I just am being myself. And so then all these people are saying, oh, I think you're great. I think you've done this. I think you've done this. Like they say really nice things, but it has been simply because I'm not trying to correct them. I'm not making them wrong. I'm not trying to, I'm not judging them. I'm simply loving them, listening, being present, letting them find their path.
What Bobby does?
Say it again.
Is that what Bobby does? Bobby Kennedy?
Um,
Guy?
he does some of that. He's not like, he knows that there are people that don't agree with him, and he doesn't push against them. He doesn't talk badly about anybody. He won't
Right.
talk badly about Biden or about Trump or about anybody else.
I
What
know.
And
I
then-
love the most about one of the few, Karen has shared some of the videos that she's found on him.
Oh,
And
it's just,
that's the biggest thing that I noticed.
Oh
And
my
that's what I've
gosh.
been praying, asking for, is somebody out there has got to be like that. Somebody, some
Yeah.
politician, and that's who I'm gonna go for.
oh my gosh.
Just stop
he's-
pushing hard against that side and just stop.
Right.
And
he's-
just
He's
show me
so
that is
great that
yeah, and
way.
he seems, that's what I'm saying. I asked that question, but in my
Great.
impression, I don't know him like you do, obviously. I just know a couple videos, long ones, actually. They were
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
long.
One day I watched 4 hours
Yeah.
of his,
And
talking.
That's what he seems
and
to
I'm
bring
like,
to me.
whoa.
And for me, what he says, and to me, that whole thing is at my
Are
point
you
of looking at things more important than
Are you
what
waiting for
exactly he's going to do about the border or whatever.
Are you waiting for the input from the Brit?
Can't hear it.
Speak up.
I am English.
Really? Oh my God. I have no idea.
Yeah,
About that.
What do you think?
you understand
He's English.
you, the USA, are our greatest compatriot. Even though in these blooming war of independence, you kicked our butts. So, what are you going to give to us? So many English people do not realize how much of a close knit we have with you, our colonial buddies. I do. I would sit down and talk to whoever's on that presidential seat and say, okay, buddy, you've given us a lot, we've given us a lot. We're going to be your buddy. What can you give to us? And so many people, so many friends of mine in this country do not realize how much a close knit we have to the US of A. And, you know, if people really understood that when they looked at USA politics, they'll be going, this is going to affect us. This is going to affect us. And I'm just in the back seat saying,
Well, you know, I agree because, like, for example, if there is a president that is going to stop, let's say, corporate corruption, if we stop that in America, it's going to show up in every other culture. More, at least not everyone, but more cultures are going to go, oh, we want our country to have, you know, good, clean government as well. And you're going to see that. And that's one of the things, that's the thing that I probably like about Bobby the most is his knowing how to break up the corporate takeover of the government. And that to me seems like it's so fun. And I think it will be a benefit to every, you know, to the people of every country, maybe not the government of every country, but to the people of every country. Because, you know, if we start doing that, people will notice, and then they're going to demand it from their people. But yeah, you're right. Like with Bobby, he will talk to anybody. He's connected to people that believe entirely differently than he does, and yet he doesn't necessarily support what they believe in, but he figures, how can I know and understand them? How can I have any positive influence upon them if I don't understand where they're coming from first? So that, to me, I like that. That's what I've been doing for years, but that also comes from him too. I mean, that's something that he has talked about for the whole time. Like the whole time I've known him, he's been, you know, he's aware of how, let's say, Monsanto is polluting the earth with GMO, right? That's why I don't eat anything that's not organic. But so he's aware of that, but he's not like hating Monsanto, but he's looking to see what is the issue. And then he puts himself in Monsanto's shoes. And I think this is part of him being a lawyer, but it's also part of his upbringing from his uncle and his dad, to put yourself in your adversary's shoes so you can really understand them. And so he's won over 13 billion from I think from Monsanto, could have been from Pfizer, but I think from Monsanto. So it's really fascinating. You know, he's just in that state of being pretty peaceful. He can get riled up every once in a while, but for the most part, he's pretty peaceful. And he just like goes through the thing. And so I like that. And I don't care if anybody watching this thinks he's a horrible person. Come talk to me, you know, and we'll talk about it. And I'm open to listening to whatever you don't like and all of that stuff. But I don't think there's any benefit for me to shy away from sharing my love of him and my love of this country with others, even though some people have like said, okay, we can't be friends. And I'm like, okay, you know, I'm fine. I'm not willing to give up what I feel is right. Integrity to me is one of my biggest values. And that's one of the things that Bobby has that I was attracted to in the beginning and still am. But integrity is something like, if I believe something, I can't do something different. Just like I can't have sugar just because I feel so freaking good. My sleep has improved, my skin has improved, my strength has improved, my wrinkles have diminished. So many things have benefited since I got rid of sugar. I'm doing other things, so it could be from that as well. But like, there's no sugar that is more powerful than my desire to be healthy. And there's no sugar that is more desirable than how good I feel being healthy. So it's like, I can't go against something that is valuable to me, that is a value that I have. And
Yeah.
so I think that is, um, I think that is something that makes this really fun, because again, it does feel like I'm getting I'm getting the experts, I'm getting the political people who are political junkies are talking to me, and they believe something different than me, and I'm just responding with love. And in fact, one guy, somebody said, well, he'll never get into the, and he was a news reporter, and he said, Bobby will never get um, the nomination because the DNC won't allow it. And I said, you never know. I said, love is the most powerful force in the world. And just like Einstein, love is more important than knowledge. Or what do you say? No, imagination is more important than knowledge. And I definitely use my imagination in a good way. And he took my tweet and he made a really mean thing about it. And I was like, he's like, this is the kind of people that support Bobby Kennedy, like these airy fairy people. And I just thought it was so funny. And I said, thanks so much. I really am an airy fairy loving person, and I really appreciate you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I didn't like say, oh, you're so mean for doing that. What'd you say?
What's input, right?
Wait, say it again.
You talk to any of us Brits about Kennedy, and automatically we will go for the assassination in Dallas. And this was a recent conversation with me and Karen Money Williams. I didn't realize that Bobby was related to John F. and everything. And people are ignorant in this country. They do not realize a lot of the time what goes off in the US of A does affect us here in the UK and everything. So you mention the name Kennedy, our mind automatically goes to John F. assassination, not realizing he has got relatives still in political standing.
Yes, but here's what you're doing, Jonathan, if you'll be open to it. I only envision what I want. And I know you're talking about Brits in general, but I won't envision assassination of anybody. I will only envision, like I have a whole vision about, for example, Bobby, that him and his wife are in the White House for 8 years, that our environment is restored, that kids are healthier, that people are more united, that we are out of the wars. We haven't been in wars for 8 years. We've got so much prosperity, building back the middle class, that that there's a lot more communication, that a lot of countries are now loving us again, that there's more camaraderie between different countries and they're now supporting us, that we're having an economic competition with China, not any military, that we're supporting people in being, talking things out, having diplomacy and having peace. And we're a creator of peace throughout the world. Like, to me, that feels really fun. And then to have a government that is honest and that is not doing corrupt. So that's my vision that I will do. And I don't care what anybody else thinks. People say, what if he gets assassinated? I was like, use your imagination so that it's for what you want, not for what you don't want. And I think one of the things I like about Bobby also is that he says, I have no plan B. If they say, if you don't get the Democratic ticket, what are you going to do? And he says, I don't know. I have no plan B. And he's so committed. And I think that is a part of alignment, because
that is.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to go on to, if I went through all my Abraham material, I'm sure I could find a quote unquote. Why are you looking for a plan B? If you're looking for a plan B, you are so in your subconscious, etc.
Right.
Plan A will not work.
Exactly right. In
That
fact, I'm in all these Twitter groups. They like somebody keeps putting in me in these Twitter groups for Bobby. And in one of them, somebody said, do this poll. Do you think Bobby should run as an independent? And I said, why? I said, what is it that makes you guys think that we should do a poll unless Bobby asked for it? Because that shows some insecurity in his supporters. And I was like, what would we want to do that for? It's a habit to say why, but what would we want to do that for? I don't know what they responded because I did that right before we had our call.
Yes, yes.
But it's so interesting, like I'm gonna only have faith that it happens because that's how I know how to do anything.
Yes.
Anything. I'm just gonna have the faith that it happens, and I'm gonna let it happen or not, however it happens or not. And I'm not gonna I don't engage in those conversations. If somebody says something like that, all I say is, use your imagination for what you want. And I'll say it to the people who are voting for Trump that are worried about Bobby getting killed because they like him. And I'll say, please use your imagination the way that you want to use it, not for something you don't want, because that's so key. So I never talk about assassination, although I am going to lunch in a couple of weeks with a girl who she did research for 25 years on the assassination, and it's not she has a whole understanding that it was the CIA and all this stuff. So I'm going to lunch with her, but mostly because she lives in LA and she's a Bobby supporter, and we've both liked each other's Twitter things. And we both know Bobby. And so we're just going to go and have a connection. But I think it's fascinating just to allow all these new people into the world, all this diversity of opinion, still keep my opinion and let them be who they are and understand where their opinion comes from and listen so I can get it and then bring forth my own opinion when it feels right, or if it doesn't, I don't bring it forth.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna have some fun here. I'm gonna have some fun here. Laugh. It's entertainment. But JFK was assassinated by Mr. Happy on the grassy knoll with an AK-47, and whilst everybody was looking at where Lee Harvey Oswald had shot his shot from, the CIA operative took out JFK. It's just a bit of fun, and it's just some English humor I'd seen somewhere online. Bottom line is, JFK, he was assassinated. How, where, when, we know it was in Texas, but how, we will never know. And the CIA, I'm going to expect to knock my door. It's one of those things. We will speculate on how JFK was assassinated for such a long time, but never really have the true answer. But those of us in alignment.
Well, here's one of the things that Bobby would do if he gets president is unlock the CIA files. And one of the things that this author has done is looked at the police files and the CIA files that are open. So she's done a lot of work. And so I don't care. I don't have an attachment to how it all unfolded or anything like that. I just want to facilitate imagining Bobby and his wife and his kids and family healthy, happy, alive, and our country flourishing because of it. That's how I want to do it. So I don't care what people say. Like, I'm not attached to this girl that I'm going to meet for lunch and what she did. I haven't read her book. I don't care, but I do know that what the story is and what people say the story is might be different. just because that's part of our corrupt government, you know, the corruption that needs to be fixed. So I'm imagining our government being clean, and I'm imagining our government being honest and being transparent and being open and all of that stuff, and really caring more for people than they care for corporations, which are people, but corporations, people as a single entity, if you will. So yeah, so that's all I wanted to talk about today, really, is this practice of letting people be who they are,
Mhm.
listening to people, and then keeping whatever I feel is right for me, being open to being transformed if there's something that somebody says that is helpful, and not, and staying calm, bringing my fun, bringing my love, bringing my kindness, bringing my respect to everybody that I engage with.
Beautiful, beautiful summary of
Yeah.
of your goals and desires there. That is just, I so agree. And with that, I want that too.
I
And
want more people to want that.
but then
That's what I'm envisioning, more people
well,
people
yeah,
That's a great
holding
idea.
that.
right.
Oh,
Hold that
envision
vision.
it the way you want it to be. Exactly.
Yes, instead of always thinking about the other side and what they're doing wrong.
And because that feels good.
It
That
feels
feels good, and if people
good.
just learn that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
It
you
feels
think
good,
that
that's, yeah, go ahead.
just in America, and so I used to do American Sign Language, and in American Sign Language, the sign for America is all these fingers, meaning all these cultures, coming together and going around the heart, which is love, in a circle of love, that we're all together in a circle of love. And to me, that understanding of America is something that I love, and it's so beautiful, and it's such a good way for me to envision, you know, all these immigrants, all these cultures, all going around. The sign for being pleased is this. So it's basically being pleased, you know, with all these cultures together. And I don't think there is anybody on another side, because we're all humans and we're humankind. And to me, we're all one. So one more thing I do that really helps is I look at, so if somebody is doing something that I don't like, let's say somebody's censoring, I will love the part of myself that censors. This is part of how I stay in alignment. I might not censor much, but maybe I censor something. I don't even know what I censor, but let's say I do. I'm just going to love that part of myself that censors. If somebody is doing mass shootings, I love the part of myself that has done, you know, has killed many things like bugs or, you know, food. You know, so I start to find it in me. When I love that part of myself in me,
Mm.
they don't have any power anymore.
Mm. Very
Oh.
nice. Great, good insight.
Yeah, so I basically, if like almost every day, by the end of the day, I've met people doing things that I wouldn't do. So by the end of the day, I'm loving those parts of myself. And then I can love it in them. I already love it in them, but I get deeper. It gets to a deeper piece.
Mhm.
And so that's the other thing I'm liking about this process, is I'm getting a very deep peace within myself by loving people that are, you know, the rascals or the tricky ones to love. They aren't anymore. They become an opportunity. And so everybody has become a gift to me, an opportunity for me to understand them better, and then to allow them to express themselves, so I get it, and then if it feels right, to express myself. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I do. But I do express myself in general. I might not express it to them, but I'll express it somewhere. So
But there are certain things that I would look at and think I would censor that from a certain group of people. I will go deep. Certain things in pornography, I would think, no, they shouldn't see that. Even certain things in the news, I would think, is a child ready to see this? And, you know, I would be going, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no,
Right.
yes.
I
And
mean,
then the parents would have to say to them, we don't think you should have seen that. And I'm like, the world has told you should see that. What's your opinion?
well,
That
I'm talking about governmental censorship. So if the government is using, like BBC is a government run program. So the government has the right to use what they say in BBC. But in America, we don't have government and media together. We're not supposed to. So
Okay.
when we have the government swaying social media companies or news broadcasts, swaying them, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not like, if you're a human being, you can censor, you can say, I say people don't cuss in front of me. I don't like the way it feels. Please don't, they still can do it. I'm not going to get mad at them, but I say, I don't feel comfortable when people cuss. So I just say that, but I'm not gonna not gonna not gonna fucking kill them. I just thought I'd but so in America, our First Amendment, the freedom of speech, comes. It's the government cannot interfere, and people have a right to assemble. And you may think of social media or Twitter or Facebook or whatever as a town square that people are allowed to come to the center and to assemble, and that they are allowed to have dissent with the government. And so when that is stopped, I can say to myself something like, I love it when I censor when people have dissent with me. I may be that I'm not listening in that moment as well, or something like that, but I don't take it in a negative way. So I love it when people, I love it when people are ignorant. I love it when I am ignorant. I love my ignorance. I love my naivete. I love my anger, even though I haven't had anger in a long time, but I know I had it. I used to have it. So I love my anger, and I'm just loving all these parts. So then when people are angry towards me, it's no big deal. So that's the other thing I wanted to share. And
Yeah,
that really helps me.
I like that a lot. And I just wanted to mention how one of the most striking moments in the videos that Mark and I watched a while back, Bobby, the interviewer was mentioned something, and he said, doesn't it just stir you up when blah 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 does blah blah blah? And it's I mean, you just, that's just so upsetting. And then I thought, well, because Bobby had not, in the hours that I had listened to him, he had never come from that place of assume, appearing upset. But anyway, he just said, I'm not here to point fingers. I'm here to build bridges. And I thought, whoa, whoa.
Right.
Thank the heavens for somebody that would come forth and say that and be so unique in that way in these times.
Mhm.
And that's what, and that's, you've said that over and over in so many ways. You're not coming here to point fingers at anybody. You're building bridges of understanding and of dialogue and discussion. And so I just think that's so nifty that you are espousing him as a candidate. Because I know that just comes from your heart. It's just something that you just love doing. It's not something you feel like you should do or anything like that. But you two are so, you see things so much the same way, and you love this planet. You love Mother Earth. You want the very, very best for her and for all of her residents. And I just think it is such a great you guys are cooperative components, as Abraham says. You're working together from the heart to establish more love and more peace, and can't argue with that. So I love it. I love everything you've shared.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. It's just so fun. And I'll send this video to you, Jonathan, if you want to post it, or to you, Karen, whoever wants to do
Yeah,
that.
that you can send it to Jonathan, and, but yes, I'd like to have,
Send it to you.
or me, whichever.
No.
Yeah, both, or however you want to do it, but yes, we'd
I'll
love to have
send it
it.
to both of you. I really appreciate you guys so much, and thank you all. I love everything you guys have said, and it's fun, and I've learned a lot, and I just appreciate you. And so we shall see you the next time.
Likewise.
Love you, Karen.
Thank you so much. Ciao.
Love you. Ciao,
Why-
ciao.
Love you guys so much.
It'll be interesting.